Welcome to the Shaun Tabatt Show, a podcast where I connect with thought leaders from across the globe, digging into important topics like creativity, personal development, marketing, health, spirituality, and so much more. Thanks for spending some time with me today. Now sit back and enjoy the show. Today, my special guest is my friend Sara Bowling. I've had her on in the past to talk about some of her books, but we only were able to scratch the surface in those conversations about her ministry, Saving Moses. So we've been hanging out this week in Nashville, and I wanted to seize the opportunity just to get in a quick conversation to talk about the exciting work she does. That's really, it's something that I've never seen before. I'm amazed by this interesting backwards way that she reaches women and children all across the globe. So Sara, first of all, welcome back to the show.
Thanks, Shaun. Super fun to hang out with you. And Nashville, man, what a fun city. Oh my goodness.
First off, obviously people listen to our previous interview. They're going to have a little bit of context for who you are. But for the listener who says, who's this Sara Bowling lady? I've never heard of her before. What are a few things they should know about you?
Yeah, so I started an organization called Saving Moses and do some amazing stuff. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But also been doing TV with my mom, Marilyn Hickey, for 25 years, teaching the Bible, writing books, wrote a couple books in Step, and then also Heavenly Help, and love getting to write. And so that's just a quick little thumbnail.
Just in, I think, of the different conversations you and I have had over the last several years, you always tell me your two favorite things are teaching the Bible and babies. First, talk to us a little bit about your passion for God's Word.
Sure. So grew up, Marilyn Hickey's my mom, so kind of maybe vicariously osmosis or something, but the more I'm in the Word, the Bible, the more I love it, and the more I love it, the more I'm in it. So I find it keeps the wheels on the bus for me, not just for ministry at all, actually on a personal level, deep in my heart. So love reading, studying, having my daily quiet prayer time, Bible time. Oh my gosh, that holds me together better than anything. So I love getting to teach it and help people understand, what does this look like in my life? How do I apply it? Love it.
Well, take us back kind of to the beginning. Like, what's the origin story or the genesis of Saving Moses? I mean, was there some kind of a catalyst aha moment where you're like, okay, this is my life's work?
Sure. So I think the beginning part is I was leading a missions team to Ethiopia, and we were doing like way out in some remote town. We were doing VBS, Vacation Bible School. And my friend, I'm staying at this orphanage, and my friend says, did you meet these newborn babies? I'm like, what are you talking about? And he tells me, he's like, their names are Sarah and Ruth. They were abandoned on a field, and the police rang this orphanage to see if the orphanage would take care of them. And the orphanage said, no, we don't do that. We don't have the capacity, and it's kind of against our protocols. And the police told the orphanage, if you don't take these newborns, twin baby girls, we have to put them back on the field because there's nobody else that'll take care of them. And I went and held these newborns, and I was like, who does that? And then the orphanage, and I found out the orphanages don't necessarily look after babies and toddlers, babies specifically. And that just kind of lit me up. I was like, how can you not do that? I don't understand that. And so that was the beginning. Then through kind of circuitous routes, I wound up doing malnutrition in Angola. Angola has one of the highest infant mortality rates. And I wanted to do what I call most urgent, least available. So I didn't want to just kind of scan the surface of needs. I wanted to hit like what was super critical, life-changing, right on the edge. And that came out of my experience in Angola, where I met a 2-year-old, Angelina. And my photographer we donated blood because she was literally death's door. And we showed up, this fortuitous moment, and we think the sun's going to come out, clouds are going to disappear, she's going to survive. We donated blood. God brought us here at this time. And that's not what happened. She died. And it just unraveled me for a good 2 months. I was done, fully baked. And so from that time on, I was like, hey, I'm going to do this. And then night care, right? So night care is super interesting because nobody's doing this. We take care of the babies and toddlers of prostitutes while they work in third world countries. So in America, we have daycare. Makes sense, but this is for working women who work at nighttime. They happen to be prostitutes. And so a lot of people are like, wow, you're helping these moms. But when I interviewed these moms, I have 5 night care centers in Cambodia. I have one in Bangladesh. And when I interviewed the moms before in Bangladesh, I said, what do you do with your baby while you're working? 7 out of 10 of those moms said, the baby's on the bed with me as I'm working. And most Americans pretty much drop their teeth when they hear that, because they're like, you're kidding me. And that's the best thing. That's the best scenario they have. They don't have any other resources. It's not like your neighbor can watch. I mean, they live in brothels, right? Your neighbor's working too. And then immediately on the heels of that, they said it's not uncommon for a client to finish with me and roll over and molest my toddler. And so this is, I feel strongly about this. And Jesus talks about the least. When you do this to the least of these, and I don't think there's more least of the least on the planet than the baby of a prostitute. And I get to love them. And I can't do enough. I think it's such an honor to do that.
On the one hand, I know we've talked about your ministry a number of different times just in conversation. And if the baby's not on the bed, they're under the bed, they're in a closet, regardless, they're in very unsafe situations. What does that look like? So when you guys are doing night care, what's a night in the life of a baby or toddler who's hanging out with your team getting cared for?
Sure. So moms bring them before they go to work. Moms drop them off in the evening, probably between 5 and 7 p.m. We give them a bath because they live in pretty dirty circumstances. Give them a bath. We give them dinner. Many of them, this is the only meal they get every day consistently. Play with them, circle time, and then we put them to bed. They sleep through the night. Moms collect them in the morning. It's just fantastic. I mean, and it is the most powerful way, I think, to express genuine love for these babies and toddlers. So it doesn't sound complicated. There's some, complexities for sure when you roll it out on a day-to-day, but in broad strokes, this is just magnificent. And love it. And watching our babies now over time become toddlers, and then watching them when they come in. Initially, they might be scared, and after a couple weeks, month or so, they're thrilled. They think they died and went to heaven. This is the most wonderful place in the world. And we give good care. One nanny takes care of 4 babies or toddlers, so the good ratios and clean, and it's just phenomenal. Love it.
So in addition to night care, you also have a heart for prenatal care in places where it just is not available. Infant mother mortality rate is really high. What does that look like? Where are some of the places you're doing that?
We do that in Afghanistan, rural Afghanistan, where the infant mortality is through the roof. 3 to 5 babies die before they reach the age of 2, somewhere between 3 and 5 out of 10. So we do midwife training, safe deliveries. We go into like rural, super rural kind of clinics, if you want to call them that. And train moms, train dads, train midwives on just kind of some basic fundamental, this is how to deliver a baby, simple, basic stuff.
We got to talk about your heart for, is it Cambodia?
Love Cambodia. So I've been working there for almost 10 or 15 years. We have 5 night care centers there. We'll keep opening more. It's where I cut my teeth on night care. And love what's going on there. We have around 100 babies every night, plus or minus, that come to our night care centers, and we get to change their lives. We get to change their lives one night at a time. And it's just a really powerful place. And love to connect with these moms. So what happens is when you look after their baby, then the moms, their hearts are tender and soft, because you're caring for the thing that's most valuable to them, their highest priority. And we look after them and express genuine love. So the moms are like, hey, man, and they start to open their hearts up, and we get to pray with them. And so it's really, really amazing opportunities, great relational connections.
As we begin to wrap up here, I know another place that God has really been putting on your heart is Bangladesh. For whatever reason, that's kind of been forgotten by everybody. Talk to us about just kind of the dire straits and intense need that you're seeing there.
Yeah, so Bangladesh is the 8th largest country in the world. It's also one of the most poor countries. It ranks probably anywhere from the 1st to the 5th highest poverty countries in the whole world. Again, 8th largest in population. It's a Muslim country, and when I've asked some of my friends who are involved there, for ministries or whatever, what's going on, and I have yet to find hardly anybody working in that country, working in that space. And so I just am pretty lit up about it in the terms of, let's really think about how we can bring genuine Jesus to a place that is hungry for genuine love. And really express that in a lot of ways. So I'm trying to make it contagious for all my friends. Hey, you guys, you need to, I'm waving the flag because I'm just not finding hardly anything happening there in terms of ministry or an NGO, nonprofit work, kind of humanitarian. I haven't found virtually anything going on there. And I'm like, let's wave the flag and run to the battle, the front line, and not away from it.
Well, and I think you were telling us last night at dinner, how long were you there before you met one Christian?
Yeah, I went 4 times in 1 year, and I met one believer. Out of 4 times in 1 year. I mean, that's lunacy. That's complete. Actually, it wasn't even a year. It was 10 months. I met one. And so I'm like, hey, this is a country with like 180 million people and less than 1 million believers in that country. Are you kidding me? What are we doing? So let's think about what we can do to turn it upside down, inside out, right? Love it.
Well, Sara, if the listeners want to connect with you and find out more about the ministry of Saving Moses, where's the best place for them to do that online?
SavingMoses.org. Really easy, super fun.
All right, well, it's time to bring this episode of the Shaun Tabatt Show to a close. Thanks so much for listening to another conversation with my good friend Sara Bowling. Once again, her ministry is called Saving Moses, and if you want to learn more, be sure to check out their website at savingmoses.org. Sara, always an honor and a pleasure to speak with you, my friend. Bless you.
Super fun. Thanks, Shaun.
That's all for this episode of the Shaun Tabatt Show. If you have a question or comment, be sure to give me a shout out on social media or send an email to show@shauntabatt.com. The intro and outro music is from the song titled Jesus Loves You, written and performed by my good friend Casper McLeod. It is from his album Faithfulness, which is available at theupperroomfellowship.org. Until next time, this is your host Shaun Tabatt, signing off.